Hello and welcome to a 1v1 cast on Greentooth Gorge. Starting off, we have Cyris playing as the Ravaner Alpha in the top side of this map, already making a tunnel towards the secondary power. And on the other team we have Carton Uberhammer playing as the Techmarine, going in very aggressively here. Uberhammer, also known previously as GUG Razbeg, for those who might know him by that name. Already this aggression from Techmarine, popping off two models here, coming on a third model as well. Look at the amount of XP that the Techmarine has already gathered from that little bit of aggression halfway to level 2. The Techmarine's bolts are doing the highest amount of range damage in the game at 33 piercing DPS, as a starting weapon can be upgraded even further to 37 piercing DPS with the Master Crafted Bolter. But the default starting damage is probably one of the strongest default ranged weapons in the game by far, just doing so much damage when you are not behind, against enemies that are not behind any kind of cover whatsoever. You can see these Termagants look like they might bleed a model, bleeding the model before that Ravaner Alpha could even tie up the Techmarine in melee combat. Techmarine has gained himself some even more XP, now 2/3 of the way up to level 2. Tactical Marines though coming in to actually assist him there. He was using Kraken rounds against that Ravaner Alpha, not actually making any difference whatsoever, other than the fact that the rounds appear red. The Ravaner Alpha is not heavy infantry, so Kraken rounds are not actually effective against him, since Ravaner Alpha does actually have commander armor. Tactical Marines going to be pushing up scouts, already forced off here. We do have a second set of scouts who are also going to get forced off at the same time by some Homogants. Scouts though could have used one of these buildings instead to actually just hide away from the Homogants. There are no spore mines on the field whatsoever, so Cyris doesn't actually have anything right now to clear out buildings. However, warriors hitting the field, if they arm themselves with a barbed strangler, can be used to clear buildings, and actually this tunnel is very nicely placed here by Cyris. He's able to vacate it and get into the lower ground, allowing him to actually protect this tunnel with the bit of shot blocker. I don't know if that actually affects units on the lower ground, but seems like a really nicely placed tunnel. And already some very quick flamers here onto the Tactical Marines for Uberhammer here. Not sure why he's gone for such quick flamers, unless he's worried about his own garrisons getting used here, or if he's gone for the flamers for the AoE damage against these Termagants and Homogants as they group up so much. Kraken rounds are going to be effective against warriors since they are heavy infantry, and already Tactical Marines going to enter the building. Not actually getting knocked back by the warriors leaping into combat there, because they actually started to enter the building already. So they are immune to that while entering a structure. Meanwhile, in mid though, some Termagants going to be capping up. Meanwhile, Uberhammer pushing down on this right hand side with both of the scouts, going to gain a lot of map coverage, and that Techmarine is just picking off model after model here. Some more Termagants are going to fall down to him, and he will definitely turn level 2 at this rate. But warriors are going to come into time up in melee combat, but little do they know that the Techmarine is armed himself with the bionics here. Could be quite brutal, could be able to take down a model here with the melee damage. Techmarine now level 2, doesn't know what to do, and Tactical Marines coming in from a side here, going to start burning down those Termagants. These warriors will survive with all models alive, and Tactical Marines are going to get forced off their flank, getting stopped as Homogants come in to tie them up in melee combat. Meanwhile, the double scouts have just been sitting on that side. Might even be able to get a warrior model here. These warriors are so low right now, down to 130 HP, and they will not lose a single model. That is very fortunate there for Cyris. They were so low. Each model having about 30 health each. These scouts could have maybe tried to stay in combat a little bit longer to get a warrior model, but then they would have risked losing a model themselves. But very fortunate though for Cyris especially to not lose a single warrior model, preventing any kind of synapse knockback to go down. Uberhammer though going to be opting for some Devastators here. I'm not sure how well Devastators are going to do. The Ravaner does have plenty of tools to actually interrupt setup teams. He can actually burrow himself with one of the armors, can burrow himself, move underground, stealthed, and then pop up wherever he wants. Ravaner also has the ability in tier 2 to cool down Raveners via the Ascetic Spores ability, which is quite expensive to actually use. It does cost 400 requisition, but you do not pay any power on those Raveners whatsoever, but they do not come upgraded, so you're still spending a lot of requisition. And our Tactical Marines in the area against to fight some Termagants here, actually entering a structure against them, not really needed at that point. The Homogants also in the area as well. Scouts going to kite them around. The shotgun blast has already been used. These Homogants are a bit low now. Techmarine is going to safely leave the area. Meanwhile, a tunnel is still up in the corner here. I'm assuming Uberhammer has noticed that, but at the same time, Cyris is pushing down on Uberhammer's power farm, tearing it down. These warriors with their power melee going to be able to tear down that one generator quickly. But the warriors are half health and do need to be careful of these devastators. That Techmarine doing so much work inside that building there. Taking down a warrior model here, can even take down a second one at this point, but he's actually focusing down the Ravaner Alpha. The amount of damage he is just laying out from inside that building is insane. But Ravaner Alpha and warriors now in melee combat, or Ravaner opting for range combat once again. When in melee combat you do take reduced range damage when using your melee weapon. All units in melee combat take reduced range damage, that's just how the game works. The Ravaner gain a little bit low though, we'll be able to get away. Meanwhile, Tactical Marine's going to come in with the flame and some shotgun scouts in the area, going to try and get a counter bash on against Cyris, and it looks like one generator has already been taken down. Meanwhile, one generator was taken down for Uberhammer, going to be using this green cover or yellow cover here. I'm not actually sure what kind of cover it is. I'm going to sit behind that so the Terminators cannot do anything against these Tactical Marines. Also, the Terminators do so little damage that the Tactical Marines can just tank it and carry on pushing, although not able to use that cover to take down the second generator farm. They will back away before losing any models and before they try to risk too much to get a second generator there. Shotgun scouts do need to be careful, they might lose a model here. They do not have the elite trainers, they do not have that high health regen when outside of combat. Outside combat means that they are not using their own weapons, and a bit of a mistake here. These warriors retreating back to base on full health there for Cyris. Unless he wants to actually get them inside a tunnel over here to actually jump in with the Homogons and the Ravaner Alpha. Meanwhile, double Terminators just pushing on that right hand side, going to reclaim what those scouts have been capturing for so long, and Homogons reluctant to actually engage that Techmarine in melee combat with the bionics on the Techmarine. Can try and bait it out, but because Homogons do leap into combat, it's a bit more difficult to actually bait it out because they'll leap in and you can't stop them when they are mid leap. So some models are always going to get caught out against the Techmarine unless you try and just move around, rather than trying to right click the Techmarine or trying to attack move against him. You want to just try and send a load of move commands to the area where the Techmarine is to make him think that you're about to leap into melee combat. Now both players are tier 2 warriors actually able to leap in there before the shotgun blast was able to fully go off. A Tyrant Guard is going to be the first purchase here for Cyris, a very nice purchase in tier 2, very difficult for players to deal with if caught unguarded. 2500 HP of super heavy infantry armor makes it very difficult to kill. Plasma damage and power melee is the best way to kill it. Then it can always enter in shield wall formation when it turns into vehicle armor, and also has a high amount of health regeneration, meaning that you actually need a source of AV to kill it in the end. But Uberhammer going to go for Plasma Devastators as his first purchase here. It does have a lot of requisition to spare, so it's a very nice purchase since they do not cost any power whatsoever. And still with a lot of resources in the bank, we could actually see a Dreadnought from him come in. Meanwhile, Cyris is going to start upgrading some units to tier 2 with tier 2 upgrades, such as these warriors who are currently in the middle of getting the Adrenal Glands upgrade. The warriors getting suppressed by these Devastators. Devs are behind some green and yellow cover. They'll be able to protect themselves a little bit. Scouts trying to stop these warriors from getting in, but going to get into melee combat. A Sems Bomb will go off a very nice grenade here, but it's not actually going to be enough to finish off the warrior squad. Warriors were a bit too far away there from the rest of the units, so they did not set off the other units with their Synapse Bomb. Homogons are remaining in base and actually fully upgraded almost, getting the Endless Swarm ability now, or not the Endless Swarm ability, but the Endless Swarm upgrade. Sending them from 8 models to 10, allowing them to reinforce from 1 at a time to 2 at a time, saving on costs. And they have 2 models which are died last models. If those models do die, you need to repurchase the Endless Swarm. And the problem with that is that it does take 50 seconds for the upgrades to come through completely, meaning that you can actually reinforce for the duration of that upgrade. The Techmarine showing off the fact that he has a Bionics still, knocking over a single Homogon model as he enters the structure here. These Homogons will need to back away. The Adrenal Glands on the warriors though means that these Homogons are going to be incredibly buffed in the next upcoming fights. A bit of a standoff right now. Plasma Devastators though setting up. The Tyrant Guard is going to push in. Tyrant Guard is going to get slowed down there by the last cannon that has also been upgraded onto this Devastator squad. The Tyrant Guard is charging in here. Very slow charge, but it is definitely charging. Devastators are definitely going to get forced off here. P-Devs are going to reset up, facing back the original direction that they were to hit down those Termagants, hit those Humagants as well. Scout Grenade does get thrown down, but does actually miss all targets. Devastator is going to set up inside this building. I'm not sure if the Tyrant Guard does splash damage against buildings or not, but I know that Dreadnoughts are able to easily attack units inside the building with the splash damage that they do. But this Dreadnought going to be very difficult for Cyris to actually handle. Does have the Corrosive Devourer here, so he can actually turn the ability on, which increases damage against vehicles by 250%. But even that might not be enough. Even with the heavy melee from Warriors and the Tyrant Guard, it still won't be enough. The Tyrant Guard is trying to back out here. It's 492 HP, but the last cannon finds the Tyrant Guard, tries to go into shield wall formation, but it's not going to be in time. And the last cannon going to get the final kill. Meanwhile, the Techmarine, armed with the Axe of the Mechanicum, also getting the Refractor Shield. He is level 4. He is doing some work right now. The power melee would have been so effective against that Tyrant Guard, and is going to continue to be even further effective against the heavy infantry of these Warriors and the Venom Brood now coming out of Cyris's base. Thing is though, with the Techmarine's Refractor Shield, his melee build is weaker in the sense that he is able to get knocked over by regular knockback. However, his Refractor Shield is much better suited against mass range armies because he does reduce the accuracy of those units by 20%, meaning that they are unable to fire at him as much because they miss half or miss some extra shots. The Dreadnought though going to find itself overextended. Even Blessings of the Omnissiah are not enough to protect it, but the Techmarine is in melee combat now. The P-Devs, oh, the brutal shot, taking down a Termagant squad there. A second Termagant squad is so low, and Warriors are going to try and force off these P-Devs. They are moving too quick for the P-Devs to actually hit them in time. Meanwhile, the Techmarine going to be engaging some Venom Brood here. They will not be able to do too much, and that Techmarine with the Plasma Pistol and 50 power melee damage axe will shred through the heavy infantry of this Venom Brood, taking down a second model now at level 6. As Techmarine has done so much work, should probably consider turning off that Refractor Shield so we can actually regenerate some energy. Meanwhile, Warriors were able to successfully force off these Plasma Devastators, who are now back in base. Both players look like they're aiming towards tier 3 right now. Both players with very high resource counts. Cyris with nearly enough resources will be the first person to tier 3, followed shortly behind Uberhammer should both players decide to tech it up. Cyris now with enough resources there, and Uberhammer just now coming in with enough resources. They will both tech up to tier 3, and this game will go on. Plasma Devastators hitting friendly units there actually. I'm not quite sure how much damage that did. I wasn't actually paying full attention there. But hitting terrain once again, knocking over the friendly Devastators. These P-Devs do need to reposition because that is unacceptable from them to hit their team, hit their own allied units. Absolute heresy. But Cyris will be the first person to take up to tier 3. Meanwhile, Uberhammer doesn't look like he's realized how much resources he has. He has enough resources to get out a super unit, but because he is not tier 3, we'll not see any super unit from him anytime soon. Meanwhile, Ravaner Alpha going to find himself a little bit outmatched here against these shotgun scouts who are fully upgraded, elite training and everything. That Ravaner has taken so much damage. These scouts could easily, don't even need to chase. In fact, the Ravaner Alpha will just fall down to the high amounts of shotgun damage. Meanwhile, the VP is 383 to 275. VP is in favor of Cyris right now, and Uberham going to be pushing in here, but Warriors jumping in, leaping in, and you can see that Techmarine Refractor Shield not effective against knockback. Does provide better immunity against range damage, but in melee combat you have to rely more on your Bionics to protect you to knock back surrounding units. But the Techmarine though extremely powerful at level 6, their Refractor Shield being so tanky with the extra 55 energy from being at level 6. On top of the extra health that comes in as well, and there's actually going to be an ability called down here. Could be Messetic Spores, could be Raveners, but instead it's going to be without numbers spawning an extra Homagant and Termagant squad. The Homagants and Termagants that come in from this are upgraded with their tier 1 upgrades, but they do not have their tier 2 upgrades, the Endless Swarm, yet. You have to actually have to purchase it on both of them. It does take 50 seconds for that to come through. Techmarine going in alone here. Some scouts are here for some support, but This is not a good fight here for Uberhammer. He is a bit alone. He is doing some nice damage though to these warriors. Able to take down a model using the bionics to knock back the Homogots. Techmarine is going in hard, but he is all alone. Getting slowed down by the crippling poison from these Termagants here. Getting surrounded by Homogots on the streets. Will be able to live overall. He is extremely tanky right now with 950 HP at maximum health. Nearly level 7 as well. In fact, if Homogot model dies here, he will level up. 2 models die and he is now level 7. 165 energy total. That massive amount of energy is going to be so good at improving the Refractor Shield's ability. Meanwhile, some more Plasma Devastators going to be coming out for Uberhammer. He has spent some more power on upgrades for his Tactical Marines here. I'm not actually sure what else he spent power on though. He might have spent some more power on these Shotgun Scouts. Maybe he didn't have the elite training before and also purchased that. There's so much requisition. In fact, he is already tier 3 and has actually spent a lot of money on something, but I'm not sure what he has spent it on. In fact, Terminators are called in now. I'm surprised he called them in so far away. He's actually forced to teleport forward aggressively with them. Ideally, you want to get them in the right spot when you teleport them in, or when you call them in initially, rather than calling them in and having them teleport. That is not what you want to do. Homogots with the massive leap range though onto these Tactical Space Marines. They do have a Sergeant, so they're a little bit better at fighting in melee combat, but still you don't want your Tactical Marines to be fighting Homogots in melee. They are very good at fighting other non-melee squads, but fighting dedicated melee units such as Homogots, the Tactical Marines do suffer a little bit unless they have the ability. They shall have no fear. They shall know no fear, sorry. Fully charged up and ready to go, where they can get a 50% special chance. There's still a lot of map control going down here for Cyris, but Uberhammer pushes on through these Terminators with a Cyclone Missile Launcher, going to aim for that generator farm. Nearly able to take down a single generator with a Cyclone Missile Barrage. Could go in with those Storm Bolters, doing 33 DPS each, roughly, or 31. For a total of 90 to 100 piercing DPS, so effective against the amounts of Homogots and Termagants here, inspiring all the allied units with each kill as well in both melee and ranged combat. Terminators now swinging away at some warriors. You can see the yellow circle around the Terminators. That means that they're inspiring infantry around them. These scouts are getting buffed. The amount of damage that they have, you can see more yellow circles around them. That's their damage increased, along with all other benefits of inspiration, which I believe is suppression resistance. Another nice Cyclone Missile Barrage going to catch out some Termagants here. These Termagants and Venom Brood unable to actually stand up against these Terminators. Venom Brood though, if they can actually land their shots against Terminators, their armor piercing damage is actually quite effective against them. But that's if they land their shots. I think they only land a certain amount of shots against Terminators because they're not massive in size, such as like vehicles are. But Carnifex is out now for Cyris, but is a triple cap for Uberhammer here. 284 VPs to 208. The Carnifex is currently unupgraded. I think it's most likely going to be a fawn-back Carnifex, given that there are so many setup teams in this game, along with ranged Terminators as well. There is a Devastator squad, which the Carnifex will need to be careful of, but Rippers can easily get spawned out of a fawn-back Carnifex and go and interrupt the squad. The Rippers are extremely small infantry. It makes it very difficult for you to actually kill in ranged. You have to actually fight them in melee combat, ideally, and very susceptible to AoE abilities. It can be called directly from the Carnifex, or the Carnifex could just charge in against the last cannon, although that's less advised. Ideally, once you get the Rippers in before the Carnifex even gets hit once, so the Carnifex can maintain full speed and does not get slowed down at all. Meanwhile, Scout's going to be getting the stealthy cap here, but Carnifex and Homogots are on the way to go protect the area. And Uberhammer now catching up to Cyris's amounts of VPs with the amounts of VP pressure he has put on recently. PDev's doing some more friendly fire damage here. I'm not actually sure what they were aiming at. Looks like they're ground targeting here, just outside the building that these Tactical Marines are on. Always need to be a bit careful when you use the ground target to make sure you're not going to walk into it yourself. Cavalry Tower also remains standing here as well. It looks like Uberhammer has not noticed that, but the Carnifex has now revealed itself. The Devastators did actually miss their first shot against the Carnifex, not getting slowed down whatsoever. It's just going to go into melee combat. Terminator's going to get caught out here. They do have their teleport available and will need to use it to get to safety, but the special coming in going to end that Cyclone missile launcher prematurely, and it actually charges in against a Devastator squad. Instead, should be able to get some XP here by killing a model or two. Rippers are now spawned from the Carnifex. These Terminators, they did teleport away, but have now gone into melee combat now against the Ravaner Alpha. These Terminators are most likely going to go down here. They are so low. Getting special once again from the Carnifex. There is no excuse here for Cyris to finish off this squad in particular. Meanwhile, Rippers and Homagons going to be pushing in. The Techmarine is alone. There's some flame and tactical marines, and he's doing some nice work, but 3 HP! The Carnifex without a sidearm is going to struggle to kill that Terminator squad, but the Techmarine is going to get caught out by the Carnifex, gets slammed into the ground and smushed completely, but the Venerable Dreadnought call-in is here on the field. The thing is, there's a lot of AV, there's a lot of heavy melee as well for Cyris. Not sure how this Venerable Dreadnought is going to handle it. He charges in with it and now has no escape whatsoever. Could use Blessings of the Omnissiah to actually support it in combat as well. But it's getting surrounded in melee units now, is not going to be able to escape very easily. Does not have the Emperor's Fist available because it used all its energy trying to charge in there. Is going to get some nice kills. Does use the Emperor's Fist now that he has enough energy, but no Blessings of the Omnissiah to actually support this Venerable Dreadnought. It does turn level 2, will go into Stoicism mode, where it has a blue energy bubble around it and will be able to carry on doing what it does for another 10 seconds. Meanwhile, these Termagons and Homagons getting destroyed by some shotgun scouts in a building. Some really nice play there by Uberhammer, fighting 3 squads at the same time with just a scout squad alone. Our tactical marines going to get forced up here. P-devs are firing away, and these Terminators that survived with 3 HP are now back on the field with a second model. But do need to be careful though, they are still a little bit low, still not fully ready for combat. That's Ravaner Alpha very fortunately going to live. The Terminators, I cannot believe that they survived with 3 HP earlier. Anything would have killed them 3 HP if this Carnifex had a sidearm or some sort of ranged weapon just to, you know, spit at them or something. That Terminator squad would have been dead. Carnifex, however, is a little bit low, does need to go back to base. This Ravaner Alpha getting killed by some shotgun scouts. These scouts have done so much work recently, able to take on 3 squads and then able to take on the Ravaner Alpha amongst 4 squads in total. Tends to be 250 to repurchase it back for Cyris when it cost becomes low enough. But given that it's a level 2 Ravaner Alpha, it shouldn't take too long, but Cyris actually killing his own Termagons here. The Carnifex is alive with 5 HP. Is it going to get away? It will. At the cost of Cyris' own Termagons. Homagons are engaging, but they are so low right now. The Venom Brood are getting caught out by a last cannon by looks of it. Homagons are going to barely be able to escape. A second set is coming in, going to engage these Terminators. Warriors just on a single model are going to get forced off in the end. Cyris is going in hard. Uberhammer with a triple cap. Cyris needs to calm down. Needs to just regroup and do a big push together, but instead he's going in hard with everything. These Terminators down to just a single model, but the Homagons are going to go down. The Power Fist on that Terminator taking down so many models here. But the Homagons barely able to live. We could see Cyris come in with a push and pull in the without number again to reinforce everything on the field. Termagons though most likely going to go down. These shotgun scouts doing so much work as per usual, but Cyris is bleeding VPs. Was ahead in VPs earlier and were equal in VPs what felt like not that long ago, but the VPs are just bleeding rapidly for Cyris. This triple cap is hurting him hard, and still these Termagons not fully reinforced on the field. Could see a without number though, so that Cyris can reinforce fully. Even the Homagon coming out of base with just a single Homagon. This needs to be a bit careful. In fact, we'll actually fall down to scouts in melee combat. The shotguns will be able to finish the squad off. 15 VPs for Cyris. P-devs are not set up in the area. P-devs are set up though to protect the other VP. Warrior's going to try and go in for the decap. Termagons are also trying to cap at the same time, but it's not actually going to be in time. VP does not get decaps in time, and Cyris is going to bleed VPs. It's the amount of VPs though that Cyris bled in such a short space of time. That triple cap from Uberhammer really hurting hard. Even the Venerable Dreadnought loss did not phase him whatsoever, and these Terminators have survived in 3 HP. So fortunate for him, and Uberhammer or Razbeg is going to be winning the game here, and I'm going to come off. Thank you for watching.